let's get some reactions. We are going to do Pump It or Dump It.
Pump it or
Moonbirds
dump
Oddities edition. WTF. What?
These are so ugly.
I thought it was a joke. That seems like you threw an anonymized in a blender and just airdropped it to people without consent.
Let's wrap this subject up. Like you got to spend a gun to your head. You have 2 ETH. You have to spend it on a crypto dick butt or a Moonbird Oddity. What are you buying?
Oddity.
After all that, you're picking Oddity.
But I don't know. Is it a better investment, in my opinion?
No, God. All right, we are live, guys. Welcome to episode 0.5 of Exit Liquidity.
0.5.
A new 0.5. This is going to be the dry run. We don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God, I'm already ruining the YouTube. You got to bleep that out. The YouTube algorithm hates us already. But this is 0.5. Next time we will do episode 1. We're going to see how this goes. But this is a new show from the homies over at Alpha Mint, and we are just going to be doing a weekly recap show of whatever we feel like. Honestly, we're just going to come up with some topics. We're going to find something interesting to talk about. We're going to pick it apart and see what happens. I am joined with me, getting noisy in Boise, Drip Cult.
What a great intro. What's up?
And the man who owns more Bass Pro hats than NFTs, Dirty Milk.
What's up, fam? How we doing?
What's going on, guys? Episode 0.5 of Exit Liquidity. We are live. How you guys feeling?
I'm feeling good. Ready to get 50 Shades of Weird.
Nice.
Absolutely. Excited to be back and doing stuff with everybody.
Yeah, and I mean that's just it, right? Like we put our heads together. We were talking about what we could be doing in this I don't know, quote unquote bear market. Some people are making crazy good trades and making bank during this. I am not one of those people. I have been very on the bad side of the free mint degen meta. But yeah, I mean that corny quote that I think I've said 500 times in the last month, builders build. What better time to just start doing some more content, finding the interesting things. And I mean, when you're putting together a show, right, like you kind of got to do some research. You got to find interesting things to talk about. It kind of restarts that little bit of that, gets the fire lit under your ass to seek out new information and start learning things. So it's really selfish. This is not for the audience whatsoever. It's just for the three of us here.
Glad you put that out there.
yeah. So for the 8 people that are going to listen to this episode, fuck you.
Whoa, bro! Again, getting us demonetized.
Yeah. We will be all right. So yeah, just a quick rundown. Like I said, we're going to go through a couple of topics. We have some segments that are planned. They're pretty loose on this episode. We're going to be doing things like Down Bad, Kids These Days, where we look at Twitter and the what are they called, Gen Zs, the Zoomers, with their crazy hair and their fresh white kicks, and make fun of them. What other segments do we have? We put together some other ones.
What else do we have?
Pump it or jump it.
Pump it, yeah. Pump it or dump it.
Yeah.
Which is not financial advice whatsoever, just to be clear.
No,
as with
not.
Everything else on this show, I guess we probably should say that this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor in the remotest definition of the phrase, and I don't think you guys are either.
Not in the slightest.
But yeah,
it's actually funny though, because everyone asks me like, what should I do with my Bitcoin? What should I do with my ETH?
Right.
Forget you have it first and foremost. Second, I didn't tell you to do that. So
yeah,
buy ADA. That's what I say.
All right, we're kicking him off the show. Cardano Max, infiltrated the group here. No, all right, let's kick it off with let's just do some news. At least that'll be the most interesting thing. A little bit of breaking news this morning. Elon Musk, I guess, selling about 75% of his Bitcoin off the Tesla balance sheets. He sold 936 million of it. He bought it back in February of 2021, so held it for almost a year and a half. A total purchase of $1.5 billion at the time. So it stands to reason. I mean, this is a slight loss, maybe 10, 15, 20% down from when he bought it. Now, if you guys remember at the time when he bought it, it really did put Bitcoin on quite the bull run over the next couple days, hitting all-time highs before cooling off for a little bit. Elon announcing that he has been selling Bitcoin over the last couple of months has not triggered any kind of landslide in Bitcoin. In fact, as of this recording, even since the time we've been talking in the pre-show, they have been going on a little bit of a run. ETH is up like 5% since we've been talking. Bitcoin went from like down 2% to a little bit green. Sailor, always the opportunist, pointing out that if he sells 75% of his Bitcoin, he will only have 25% left. I knew he was a billionaire for some reason. What are you guys thinking about this? Are we happy that Elon is leaving crypto? Is this a publicity stunt?
I mean,
What's
both
going on?
these guys, anytime they can talk about Bitcoin or get in the news, like they're going to be on it, especially Elon. Well, I guess never mind. Both of them, same.
I'm just happy to know I'm not the only one down bad, to be honest.
Well, I was just curious if he's trying to, yeah, exactly. Maybe he's got to raise some money so that he actually can afford Twitter if the court decides to make him buy that, which I didn't even realize they could do, but apparently that's a thing. But yeah, so right now, Elon is on his way out of it. I don't know about his Dogecoin holdings, but crypto does not seem to be taking a beating from
I
that.
forgot about Doge. I totally forgot about Doge. No, I mean, either they're just getting ready for what's coming this winter, which everyone's saying is going to be gross in every market, or they're trying to, free up some capital, or yeah, Elon just wants to continue keeping his name in the news, which he's not short of these days. So there's so much they could be doing, but I mean, then again, like they could do so much more with that capital, like being outside of Bitcoin. Bitcoin just locking it up and locking it down, like doesn't do anything for them, especially when it's going down in price.
Yeah, I'm just like Elon, of course, in the headlines for this lovely photo of him having some fun
Yes.
with the yacht, which
It's a
dirty
$1
about
billion body right there, baby.
look as the resident style guru, like rate this fit on a scale of 1 to 10.
I would say 11, just peak male performance.
This is the
10 out of 10.
the apex predator of the human race. Like we're
100%. You see
say
this albino gorilla coming at you, completely bald, like it's just game over.
the
you can say
albino.
anything you want. Yeah, anything you want about Elon in his body or how he looks in this photo. But dude, if he shows up in front of your chick or anyone's chick, he's Mr. Steal Girl every day of the week. Like, there's
Is that
no
right?
way.
Yeah.
He's rocking,
Absolutely.
the curly fringe in the front, like the TikTokers. I'm digging it.
Yeah, like if I came over dirty and was like, give me the Elon cut, like you could pull that off.
Yeah, I mean,
Or is that a fit only for billionaires?
I mean, you will be short $1 billion, so that would help. But I mean, I can't deny that people will be flocking towards you. I don't know if it'll be what you're looking for, but people will be flocking.
I mean, it was nice to know that the only difference between me and Elon Musk is $230 billion. Other than
That's
that,
it.
like we are on an even playing field
Exactly.
here, right?
That's it.
Big difference.
All right. Well, speaking of billionaires, big companies doing big decisions, Microsoft put out a statement yesterday around Minecraft and NFTs. Of course, we saw the rise of fame of NFT worlds. A lot of big projects were building on top of NFT worlds. I think most people are familiar with what that project was, but for those who aren't, they were kind of building like the Roblox of Minecraft. So they were creating many different worlds in games that all had one underpinning currency, of course, the world token. There were other pretty successful projects. Critters was pretty big for a little while. People like Becker, Pranksy, they were participating in it. They owned it. A lot of daily active users and people making some pretty good money off of playing Minecraft. For a long time, it was reported, and I'll pull up this Decrypt article right now, that they were actually pretty okay with it. There was at one point a petition from the angry traditional gamers trying to get Mojang, of course, the creator of Minecraft, to do something about this because, as we all know, gamers hate NFTs. It got a grand total of 72 signatures before it kind of fell off the map. So, feeling pretty bullish about that. But also, they did interview NFT Worlds, and the founders of NFT Worlds, I'm going to find the spot in the article, had said that they do work pretty closely with the IP enforcement team, of course, at Microsoft. They're in our Discord constantly, kind of reviewing our chat, and we have meetings with them. That being said, it's unclear, and this article is from February, by the way. It's unclear whether Microsoft approves of this project. We now know that they do not. And they said they're watching us from the sidelines, not like a formal green light, but I think in their eyes, we're the best case scenario for someone using their project. Of course, yesterday, Microsoft dropped the hammer, updating their policies. Their terms and conditions are going to be going live pretty soon, not immediately. So these projects are still operating. And I think a lot of people have been buying the dip, hoping that maybe there's some reversal, or maybe these projects can come to some kind of agreement of working with Microsoft with maybe some oversight. I think that's a long shot, but here's hoping to anybody that has big bags in these projects. But they basically just quoted a lack of inclusion. Let me read the snippet here. To ensure that Minecraft players have a safe and inclusive experience, blockchain technologies are not permitted to be integrated inside our Minecraft client and server applications, nor may they be utilized to create NFTs associated with any in-game content, including worlds, skins, persona items, or other mods. For a company, saying that they want inclusion, I think, cutting NFTs out is pretty exclusionary. However, I don't think any amount of money that they can be generating is going to move the needle for Minecraft. And therefore, this only poses like a huge downside reputational risk for them, especially with the obviously speculative nature of NFTs. Actually, yeah. And then just as a little bit more context, right before we started recording this, I found an article from Epic Games taking the contrarian stance and basically saying Epic Games definitely won't follow Minecraft's lead and ban NFTs, says Tim Sweeney, the CEO and co-founder. The Epic Store has been including NFT games loosely in their store. So I guess Epic is willing to pick up the slack where Minecraft is not. But what are your first reactions of this? If you were holding these NFTs, was this one of those things that like you would have sold a long time ago because it was inevitable? Is Microsoft the bad guy for this?
I know a lot of AlphaMint members were heavy into critters, if not still. I know a lot of people made a lot of gains on critters, including myself. That was a lot of fun. Didn't you have numbers on NFT worlds?
We definitely had people that were holding NFT worlds. I don't know how many of them were actually participating in the ecosystem.
No, I meant like floor prices.
Oh yeah, well, okay. So adding a little bit more into that, yeah, NFT worlds right before this announcement was at a 3.5 ETH floor, about $5,000 in today's price. It did dump down to below 0.7. It is rebounding again. I mentioned that people were buying the dip, hoping for something. So these are still sitting on a 1 ETH floor. But down from their February high of 18 ETH on average, and with obviously the prices at the time being over $50,000 a pop. I mean, if you've been holding this for 5 months, you are down bad.
Bad. This is definitely down bad. I mean, my first thought was initially like, kind of, what did you expect? You're building on someone else's IP. Like, there's only one way that ends. Like, either they buy you out, acquire you, which NFTs is probably not going to happen, or I shouldn't say that actually with CloneX, but or they just drop the hammer and you're out. But the fact that their team, that Microsoft's team was in their server, keeping an eye on them, keeping a tab on them, I have a feeling NFT Worlds is going to have a pretty solid future in this, maybe more officially with like Microsoft in the capacity of actually building for them or with them versus I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that until that article. But I mean, there's
I
no
like
way
to throw you guys some curveballs live.
No, definitely.
And just get the real reaction,
definitely, and that was like that's an old article, right? Like,
yeah, it was.
There's no way that relationship
during the
hasn't
NFT
built.
run.
Yeah, there's no way they haven't developed more inroads with that relationship and haven't either fostered something that's going to be 100% official or, is going to turn into something more official. Like, there's just no way. Now that especially with they've had such close contact. But yeah, I mean, protecting their IP, protecting users, like it's
For me,
if you guys watch, sorry, go ahead, Dirty.
For me, this definitely seemed like a matter of time thing. I don't know, what was the project? Block World? Was it Block World?
There's been tons of them. There's been
Wasn't that like a
CryptoCraft.
big? It was
There
humongously
was one
hyped,
that was a huge rug too.
and it was a huge rug. So I
Yeah,
wonder if they were just kind of like, we don't want to deal with this, that kind of mindset, or if they just have never dealt with this, so they just had to have systems in place. Like there's a famous story about a guy who broke into Buckingham Palace, and they couldn't arrest him because they didn't have laws that said you couldn't break into Buckingham Palace. So they just had to like let him go. And I just wonder if there was just something they had never dealt with before. And they're like, hey, maybe we should have at least systems in place. But knowing, like, hearing about the relationship with NFT worlds kind of early on, it like Drip said, I imagine that they are working together in some capacity and probably have some kind of, hopefully have some kind of fix down the line.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's awesome for the teams, but like obviously there's a lot of bag holders. I can't imagine someone isn't sitting there buying the top and now holding down under 1 ETH like that, max paying. Like, I feel bad for those guys for sure.
Yeah, definitely tough to ride that kind of loss, especially with news like this, because it doesn't feel like there's much coming back from it. Like I kind of poked my head around their discords to kind of get the vibe. Obviously, there was a lot of panic, people throwing out a lot of suggestions. Of course, like suggesting things like switch to Roblox, switch to Fortnite, which is the worst idea in the world, considering like Microsoft just deplatformed them. Like, why would you go and just run the same thing back on a different platform and just. It's going to happen. My gut is actually telling me that with Microsoft's, like literally within the week, we could get the FTC approval of the Activision Blizzard merger, or not even merger, acquisition that Microsoft initiated quite some time ago. I think that Microsoft has big aspirations for these metaverse plays. They're obviously pointing their ship in it and reacting to Facebook, obviously, changing their name to Meta and going all in on that. I think these big companies are very aware of what's about to happen and the big shift in dynamics for the consumer. I think it's easier for them. And this would be where the hopium comes in, right? I think it's easier for them to draw a hard line in the sand and say no, and then build basically regulation on top of that, right? Because you start with a very black and white scenario and you build towards something that could be favorable for these projects. And at least when you say no, you cut a lot of the absolute garbage, and there's a bunch of them out there.
There's a lot.
CryptoCraft, block, that shitty block one that we were talking about that was a rug, like, they are not going to come back from this. NFT worlds, I think there's a reasonable shot that they find some kind of solution. I wouldn't be buying this dip. Critters, I think that they have a long enough track record of execution, daily active users, and just operating in good faith that they could probably find some kind of, maybe it's like a licensing fee. Maybe it's, they have to hire somebody that's in charge of regulation or making sure that they're playing within the rules. But they could get there. I mean, full disclosure, I actually bought a couple of critters thinking like, man, those look awfully cheap. And now they are down a lot more.
Yeah, I was gonna say that gamble.
It wasn't like a huge gamble, but I was I checked in. I'm like, people are still playing this stuff. People are enjoying it. But yeah, I think Microsoft was probably feeling like they were losing control of the situation. They had to just take a hardline stance,
hold out for that licensing agreement.
Yeah, and again, like there's no amount of money in this. Well, not yet, but like there's no amount of money in crypto Web3 Minecraft that is going to be like, ooh, we need to get our hands on these profits, right? Like, I was looking at this, I was looking at this topic, and for the last year, they averaged $163 million in profit per day of profit, right? So, I mean, what is it if a couple $100,000 a day, not moving the needle for them, $1 million a day, not moving the needle for them, and there's not that much money in here for them. So again, yeah, I know
You're in the wrong. 100.
That's Minecraft, you said?
No, Microsoft, like as a whole, right?
Microsoft.
Oh, okay. I mean, still.
No, sorry, not Minecraft. Yeah.
I thought that was Minecraft.
I was like, Minecraft.
What?
Yeah, I knew Minecraft was popular, but dang.
I mean, that's nuts nonetheless. But
150 million daily active users in Minecraft. So the 25 of them playing on NFT worlds is also not moving the needle.
No, not at all.
That's insane.
Any final thoughts about Microsoft shutting this down?
GG.
I think it's to be continued. Honestly, I think there's going to be a lot more to it.
I would imagine that we will probably touch on this subject again in the future. Moving on, let's get some reactions. We are going to do Pump It or Dump It,
Pump it or
Moonbirds
dump it.
Oddities edition.
Moonbirds
First of all,
Oddities.
I gotta say, WTF? What
These are
the?
so ugly.
Yeah. All right, let's back it up and start. So, of course, we have Proof Collective, one of the grails in the NFT space. 1,000 of them, of course, gets you access to Kevin Rose's Discord. They are sitting at a nice, juicy 83.8 ETH
Elite
floor.
of the elite.
That was higher. They, of course, launched Moonbirds many months ago. Feels like an eternity ago now. They are sitting at 24 ETH floor. Now, that did actually come tumbling down a little bit after the oddities revealed. Oddities were airdropped to Moonbirds holders that had them nested back in May. May 22nd was the day that these have been kind of sitting there as a cocoon of some sort. And yesterday, butterflies did not come out of the cocoon. These
Not
are
even close.
First reactions were, is this a joke? Now, anybody in NFTs and watching along with this will recognize this work as gremlins, of course, of cryptodes, nouns, very unique style, but holy shit.
So ugly. It's so ugly.
I thought it was a joke. Like I don't know
Like
if I'm
the
too
like the
poor to have
Azuki
acquired
pile of
taste
dirt
like
thing.
these VC dudes or whatever, but like that seems like you threw an anonymous in a blender and just airdropped it to people without consent. Like I cannot believe it.
So are you suggesting that there should be some legal actions taken for putting these in
I don't
people's
know, but
No.
like somebody needs to be responsible for this.
The crazy part is there's
I've
someone on the
definitely
other
been
side
to
of this
wars.
saying this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Like this is it. Oh no, my camera.
Drip Cult is getting too hot and he needs to be allowed to cool there for a second. But yeah,
down a little bit.
I mean, two interesting points there. Maybe we just don't get it, man. Maybe we just need to be VCs and this would like make sense. And these are, this is fine art. I don't know. But to Drip Cult's point, there's always somebody on the other side of it that is saying like, hell yeah, this is it. Let's put this out into the world. Who's it? I don't know. Maybe are we just going like based on Gremplin's name? Like it's Gremplin. Gremplin's going to do Gremplin things, and we just got to roll with it. Do you like Gremplin? Do you like cryptodes?
I like the cryptodes, to be honest. My girlfriend calls them ball sacks, but like they, as far as like pixel art goes, I always liked the cryptodes. These just seemed. I'm no artist, like not even close, but these seemed like lazy. And somebody was put in a position where Gremplin was like, here's the art. And they didn't want to piss off Gremplin. And we're like, okay, like, sure. Yeah, we'll sign these off. That's how I feel about it, to be honest.
And I mean, you might not be wrong, actually. Like maybe Gremplin was like in the lab toiling away on these for months. And they're like, because they have been airdropped for almost 3 months now. And maybe someone's like, Gremplin, please, like, we got to get these revealed. And he's like, here you go.
Yeah, and they're just like whatever. Like, I would be upset personally.
If I went to Gremplin and was like, hey man, like create me some cool artwork, I would be so bummed if this is what he came back with. But
well, because Moonbirds are actually pretty good.
They're fantastic.
Great. Yeah,
like they look nice. They're clean. They're pretty well stylized. They have a lot of diversity in terms of just like good PFP pixel art. Like I have them up there, as like a great quality project. Obviously there's a lot more to them than just like the JPEG component of them. Oddities, while they're saying there will be more utility and to hold on to them and whatnot, like right now, as far as I know, they are just the JPEG, right? And yeah. I'm not buying these, like
I did not buy. I did not purchase any of them.
I'd feel bad selling these.
Flip side, feels bad to sell.
Yeah, like you're obligated to hold these because you don't want somebody to spend $3,000 on one of these. All right, I'll take it. Well, I mean, as per most NFT projects, the post-reveal dump held true on this. They were trading upwards of 4 ETH before this. Now, I mean, if you really want to get technical, ETH was worth less at the time, and it's been on a run. So, maybe they're not down as bad as you would think. But some of them selling for substantially more than the floor. We have highest last sales of around 20 ETH, drops off down to about 10 ETH. And I mean, people are buying the rares. I gotta just say, like, it's probably just exposure to proof, right? Like, it's just, you know, that tiered, we've talked about it so many times of like, when is the appropriate time for a project to do a derivative collection or airdropping stuff and whatnot. The projects that do it well are the ones that just become inaccessible for the average person to hold. And I mean, at the end of the day, even 2 ETH is pretty expensive for someone to just buy.
Never rule out the lottery ticket of a pre-reveal. Like, some people, they're willing to take the risk, and it pays off sometimes. You hit one of those rares, you're selling for, 10, 20, 30 ETH. Like, never rule that out. People like to gamble, and people still have stupid amounts of money in this space to gamble.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, I am worried though, right? Because this is like a pretty affordable price. In the next bull run, like, these seem like prime candidates to be actually the recipient of a pretty good run, right? Like, it has an active community. It has the pedigree of like a legitimate blue chip NFT in proof, and a soon to be blue chip NFT in Moonbirds, provided nothing crazy happens. And I'm just now, like, I'm looking at these, I'm like, I bet these look a lot better when they're worth like 15 grand, right? You know?
Yeah.
How many times have we done that, right? Like, Azuki revealed and we're like, well, that's pretty good. Like, it's quality art. I don't know if I would pay 3 ETH for it. And then at 20, everyone's like, man, these things are the fucking best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm like, no. If a Azuki style piece artwork revealed for these, I would be way more hyped than this. But also, the other thing too, like, artwork alone, like, you can't rule out Kevin Rose and what he's gonna do with this. Like,
yeah, I'm speaking strictly on art here. Like, there's a lot more to the whole proof ecosystem than this, obviously.
Yeah,
but
even take artwork out, take all that aside. Like, I mean, the general reactions to these was, holy shit, what the hell is this? Like, why did I get this? I'm pissed. I'm mad. Like, Kevin Rose is not someone to leave people hanging, especially like his holders. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls something out of his hat and just delivers insane value on these things. Because I feel like he's already in a hole just on visuals.
These out of his ass.
Yeah, pretty much. But I don't know.
Guys, I think they're growing on me already, to be honest with you. I don't know.
I mean, does it for you guys? I mean, question for you guys: is this in the Goblin vein where, it's ugly enough for people to like it? Or
I don't think so, because I like these look like I think it's like the limbs. They're just so not proportioned in a way. Like, the goblins are meant to be ugly, but they're very well done. And I'm no artist, and I do respect Gremplin, but I just do not think that he hit it on these whatsoever.
I'm going to pull up one other project and maybe just play the contrarian here now. Let's get into it.
In the back of my head.
I'm glad you finished that sentence, because I didn't know where you were going with that.
Caught me.
Crypto dick butts. I mean, these things have. Okay.
I mean, you're running off meme power here, though. This is all meme juice right here. Like, come on. Like, I understand the artwork, not great. Like, in terms of, like, if you're going based off artwork solely, not great. But like, the meme is all time.
Yeah, and they're fun. They, like, how did you have to wait 3 months for these to reveal?
Did Kevin Rose put this out?
That isn't a bad point either, though. Like, the 3-month reveal on these things and trading for pretty high. I mean, there's going to be, a lot of controversy, but as we've seen, controversy always plays. Let's wrap this subject up. Like, you got to spend a gun to your head. You have 2 ETH. You have to spend it on a crypto dick butt or a Moonbird oddity. What are you buying?
Oddity.
After all that, you're picking oddity.
But I don't know. Is it a better investment, in my opinion, in the proof ecosystem?
Crypto dick butts have oddity, but does an oddity get me into the Discord? Because if it gives me access to the Discord, like, that's worth it.
It does.
It does. Oh yeah, then oddity. Yeah. Because the utility behind that. So
you get I have the live feed ear in my ear saying, yes, you do get access to the Moonbirds chat. So I guess if you're
I'd
looking for
probably go
extra
Oddity.
utility, you will.
After all that.
I know. I just shit on
Yeah,
them
he
for
spends
like 10
15
minutes.
minutes talking shit about them and then be like, I
It's-
had crypto
I
dick
mean,
butts in the back of my and
I'm talking strictly art, and I've definitely minted worse than both of those.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
that I can agree with.
We do know that it goes a bit beyond that. So if we're talking an investment, I would definitely go Oddity.
We're going oddities. I think we're going oddities across the board. All right, I'm holding you guys to it. If I don't see an oddity in your wallet in the next 24 hours, I'm calling you out public.
You can call me out. There's not going to be an oddities in my wallet.
Would you have rather just held the pre-reveal screen?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. You don't have to answer that.
Yes,
all right, let's get into some Twitter thread action from our good friend Franklin is bored. At Franklin is bored. This is the 7th largest holder of Bored Apes. He has a little bag of them of 58, which means he has done very well with mutant drops. He has done very well with the ape coin.
Okay, wait, hold on, because people don't know where we're going with this yet, or maybe they do. Maybe. I feel like this segment should be called Max Payne.
Ooh, I like it. Max Payne. Yes, we're Franklin experiencing Max Payne right now, but to set the stage, Franklin is doing all right for himself. 58 Bored Apes, lots of ape coin, 120,000 followers on crypto. He registered an ENS domain name that was stop doing fake bids. It's honestly lame. myguy.eth. He registered it, held it in there, and then from another wallet put a 1,000 WETH offer. 100, sorry, not 1,000. 100 WETH offer on it. Now, of course, this was his own offer. Somebody else got the smart idea to just offer him 1.8 WETH just to throw it out there. And him thinking like, this is the steal of the century. It's the stupidest domain name I could have come up with. I'm smash accepting this. He accepts the 1.8 WETH offer, immediately goes on Twitter to brag about how ENS is the greatest investment ever. Meanwhile, the guy who just bought it is accepting his 100 WETH offer that he didn't cancel, netting him a cool, I think it was like 95 ETH after the ENS fees and whatnot. And now Franklin is down bad with, or I guess Max Payne. Sorry, we're calling it Max Payne. He is experiencing Max Payne. He is trying to get it back. He is trying to get it back. He sent him the last little bit of ETH to make it 100 and said, there is an ENS domain name that I sold for you for 1.9, but I forgot to cancel my own fake joke bid of 100 from my other wallet, which you then sold to receive 97.5 WETH after fees. I've tried to refund you the original 1.9 WETH in hopes to reverse all transactions, but I understand if you want to keep your profits. I mean, what are you guys doing? So what are you guys doing in this scenario? You see the opportunity of the decade to make almost 150 grand. Are you giving Franklin back anything? Or is this just Web3, baby?
Not a chance. You have 58 apes.
This is tuition.
Like, I'm sorry, but I would shed 0 tears. Yeah. Like, you put yourself in that. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's like tough because like thinking about it, but just if a guy has 58 apes in his name on Twitter and is making dumb choices like that, I am sorry, but you like, like it's like
chalk it up to an expensive
where like Mark Zuckerberg lost 100 billion off his net worth. It's like, I sleep well.
Like, yeah, you're okay with Zuck losing 100 billion.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like, you poor thing, like, sorry, but you put yourself in this position. Yeah,
I mean, either it's an incredibly huge mistake or amazing Twitter engagement farming, like one of the two. And I wouldn't rule out engagement farming. Like it's there's nothing happening. It's funny. It's fun. I mean, obviously you look at it like an idiot, but at the same time, if you didn't actually lose anything, who cares how you look? Because NFT Twitter space moves, in 3 days, no one will remember this.
So you think that the third party was actually him doing it as well, and this is just all one big like circle jerk amongst himself?
I wouldn't rule it out at all. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure there's a sleuth out there that'll eventually either discover what's going on, or it's just not that big of a deal, because it's engagement farming. But I mean, hey, if it is a big mistake, like, ouch, max pain. But 58 apes, yeah, little sympathy, especially because a lot of other people, I mean, within this last week through the Premint hack and then throughout the entire last year, like, lost so much more and were down so much worse and didn't have 58 apes to wipe their tears with.
Yeah, just don't make 150 grand jokes and then you won't have this problem.
There you go.
I think that's what it comes down to, right? Like, what did Drip? You said play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right?
Yeah,
like it's maybe just par for the course. I'm actually leaning towards the Twitter engagement farming too. I mean, he's getting great play on this. Everyone's talking about it, including us. So, haha, we fell for it, I guess.
But you guys didn't answer the question. The question was, would you keep it?
Oh, I didn't answer that. Yeah, you're correct.
Oh, I'd keep it. Yeah, absolutely. But then again, I mean, like, it's a big gamble. Someone literally spent 1.9 ETH to hopefully get that.
Well,
send him 50 ETH
yeah,
back.
True.
Yeah,
Drip is right though, because he could have accepted it and like Snap canceled it too, right? Like,
that's true, because Franklin had no intention of refunding the guy's 1.8 ETH bid.
No, he didn't.
Off of, in his eyes, he's like, this guy's an idiot bidding on this.
Valid
so it's
point.
Like, so yeah, no, I'm not sending him 50 ETH. I'm keeping the 100 and the 1.7 that he sent to make it whole.
You know what I would do? Actually, take it back. I would send him the 100 ETH back if he sent me one of his apes.
I was also thinking that too, right? Like, I'll give you 100 ETH for your floor. What's the ape worth right now?
I feel like with
no, that's stupid, because then you could just buy an ape with it and pocket the other 12 ETH.
I feel like, but like that, taking one of his bragging apes would be way better trophy.
Yeah, imagine him rocking 57 apes as his.
Exactly.
58 is just such a nice round number,
Exactly.
Okay, not to be discounted though. This guy's going to have to pay capital gains tax on it, and buying another ape or refunding the money might not get that back from you, right? Like, never underestimate the power of the tax man too.
Taxes, what are those?
Oh yeah, we're not allowed to say the dirty T word on this.
No dirty T word.
So we're canceling the tax advice segment that we're bringing up next.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. A little sidebar though, ENS names also going pretty crazy lately. It's kind of been one of the hot topics in NFTs, and honestly, if we talk about NFTs being more than just JPEGs and having use cases and whatnot, ENS has got to be like top tier in terms of usefulness, right? In the last week, we saw Hermes sell for, I believe it was 50 ETH just a couple days ago. Nike sold for 60 ETH. There is a 1 million USDC offer on Amazon.eth. So ENS names, particularly 3 digits, 4-letter names, 4-letter words, and 3-letter words are really skyrocketing right now. I gotta say though, Nike for 60 ETH actually kind of seems like a steal, really. Like Nike, we're talking Nike, and Nike is in the crypto and NFT game. Purchase Clone X, like they exist in this space. So I mean, if I owned it, 60 ETH seems like a nice bag to have, and you never know what the situation of the person that's holding it is. Like, maybe he has medical bills to pay for. Maybe he's he wants to go on a great trip. I don't fucking know, whatever. But
so Nike doesn't own it?
No, it was not bought by Nike.
Oh,
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of
less surprising.
Oh, if I knew Nike was buying it, I'd be like, let's get that number.
Absolutely.
Let's get that number up a digit or two. Okay?
But like the first seller, I mean, that's a great sale.
Yeah, good for him. His hands are clean.
That thing will probably trade hands a few times before it gets into Nikes.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's also playing a losing game. Like, spend all that money hoping Nike's going to come along, and the next thing you know, you're getting sent like a letter from a lawyer saying, "Oh, actually,
But can they do that with domain squatting? I mean, people buy
$1 billion company can do whatever they want. I mean, at the end of the day, like, chances are, like, yeah, I get it, decentralized, come on, man. Like, some random dude versus $1 billion company. Like, we've seen how that plays out numerous times, minus the Nissan.com guy, I believe it is.
Oh, do tell.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Let me check. Yeah, okay. So this dude bought Nissan.com. forever ago, like basically when the internet started, and Nissan has literally tried numerous times to sue him for ownership, and somehow he still wins. There's a whole story behind it. I can't remember at the moment, but it's
Well, what is he
fascinating. It's
waiting
funny.
for?
It's
Like,
interesting.
can't you just say, oh, they don't want to buy it from him. They want it. They just.
Oh no, yeah, I think no, they just wanted to claim it because like
Hmm.
copyright or trademark or whatever, but I don't think they officially tried to buy it from him. Maybe they did and he said no. Honestly, I can't remember the full story, but some random person owns Nissan.com. So
That's a nice pickup. I mean, if you were big brained back in the late '90s, buying up those domain names. To my point, I think ENS is kind of in that vein, right? Like, I think the ability to send something crypto, including Bitcoin, to a .eth rather than a 30-digit OX 84 capital Z 928. I think it's incredibly valuable, especially when you're talking about companies that are in the, accepting of payments thing, right? Like send, if you could buy Nike shoes and you just send to Nike.eth or whatever, like verify that it's the right one. Is it Nike.eth? Yes, correct. Like, I think these domain names are probably going to be pretty invaluable for them because, like, if I were to ask you guys what Nike.com would be worth, like, I don't think you could actually put a price tag on it.
I mean,
I know what I would
33
sell it
billion?
for,
Like,
but
what is
like,
their company worth? Like a couple billion? 33 billion, I think, or something
yeah,
like that.
it's somewhere in the ballpark
There
of
you go, that
like,
much. But I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I definitely think if like a DGen is holding an ENS and Amazon comes to them and says, I'll give you 2,000 ETH, like of course they're gonna buy it. But so maybe they will try that route in a roundabout way. But I think like I don't know. Yeah, I think $1 billion company could easily come and figure out some legal way to take it from you.
Not my ENS names. I'm keeping them.
Yeah, not my ENS names.
All right, let's talk about some hacks that were going on. We're going to kind of go over the fact that Premint last week was a bit of a disaster, although the Premint pass holding up pretty well in the wake of it, still sitting at just under an ETH. I think it was at like 1.2 at the time. Premint, of course, had a socially engineered hack. They got in, uploaded a bad contract that people were signing, and all of a sudden the apes in their wallet or whatever were being extracted immediately. There's a larger discussion here about just participants in crypto and like learning to look at what you're signing. But of course, these big brands, these big influencers and whatnot, that you got to get your security down, and you got to make sure that this stuff is absolutely locked down because, as we know, time and time again in this space, it moves so fast. People don't think before they click, right? And if you're listening to this, like, just take the extra 20 seconds to check, right? Like the downside of losing everything you have is a lot higher than that,
Yeah. I mean,
8-bit
time is money in this
guy
space.
free mint. Yeah.
A lot of people,
You're
but I
right.
mean, yeah, but I think a lot of people, and I know we've talked about this a lot in Alphabet and other discords and stuff, but like there's a big difference between hot wallets and cold wallets, and they're not even
100%.
cold storage wallets. But I think especially after this latest round of like free degen mints, like you got to use a hot wallet and you got to not have your valuables in it or anything of value in it because you don't know what the heck you're signing half the time.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, these wallets, they're free to make as many of them as you want, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it takes 20 seconds to just click create new wallet, transfer.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I'm talking about
Right, I
within
was
the
thinking
same
about like
seed
setting
phrase,
up an
right?
actual MetaMask.
Yeah.
Like, well, you gotta
No, no,
write
no.
down your path. You gotta write down your key. Like, but yeah. Yes.
Like, have a
Add
separate
'em all.
MetaMask, like, with the seed phrase and whatnot for like your real valuables, like create the vaults or whatever. Like, if you're holding
Yeah.
a Moonbirds or you're holding a mutant ape or you're holding something that is worth 5 figures for whatever, it doesn't even actually matter what it's worth. Whatever's valuable to you, like, absolutely have it in a separate wallet. But even just beyond that, like, just create that extra one, and you could do that for every new mint. Like, gas is not that expensive right now if you're transferring ETH to it. Like, it's like 0.0013 to transfer. It's like
Yeah.
a couple of bucks, right?
I think it's like way cheaper than that. I think it's like cents right now.
And that's my point, right?
Yeah.
Like, to just transfer the ETH, like, we're talking about like trying to get that extra little bit of edge in your trading by saving like fractions of a fraction of ETH to do it. And like, you really, really got to be careful about it. Now, Premint is a little bit different because if you're using something that you hold a Premint pass to, you typically, actually, that's not even true. Premint allows you to use a hot wallet. You can sign a second wallet up for Premint that does not include your Premint pass. So that point is null and void as well.
Have either of you heard if Premint was like not gonna make? I doubt they'll ever make people whole for what they lost. But has anyone heard anything on that front? At least
I haven't. So was it?
Other than sorry,
that's another conversation too.
Was it just a project that Premint featured when they launched?
Nope.
How did it?
This was a Premint signature. Like there was an exploit that happened. One of their developers was compromised through a fake job offer. Is this the right one? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Premint. So one of the
I thought that was Axie, or is that the same situation?
I think it was the same situation. One of their employees was compromised. Gotcha. And then, anyways, long story short, regardless of all of that, no, they haven't made any reparations for people. Like, I'm sure that they could afford it, but I actually do think that this creates a bigger discussion. And of course, we were about to mention the Zeneca hack as well. He put out a thread not too long ago. His Discord was hacked, and then more recently, his Twitter.
Oh, sorry, yeah, his Discord.
Yeah, no, this was the second time for Zeneca, right? Like, let's throw him into the down bad section as well. Zeneca's a pretty well respected member of the community too,
Absolutely.
right? Like, you don't let him in with the beanies of the world. Like, I think people typically just really like Zeneca, but having a tough go of it right now. And he wrote a Twitter thread, an open letter to the NFT community regarding attacks on social media service providers and the accounts we use, a postmortem of what occurred yesterday, the idea of personal responsibility and trying to change the precedent on compensation. A little over 24 hours ago, his Twitter was compromised. A bad actor gained access to my account and tweeted a stealth mint with a link to a malicious website. The website looked convincing. It was in the style of official Zen Academy website. It asked users to connect their wallet, sign a transaction or transactions, which, if signed, allowed the perpetrator to transfer valuable assets to their wallet. Now, again, time is money in this space. Things move really quickly. But I could tell you the amount of times I've seen Zeneca drop a stealth mint from a tweet, and it's a big fat zero.
Donuts,
right?
Baby, big fat donut.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you really got to take into context of, like, if it smells like shit and it looks like shit, and apparently it didn't look like shit, it looked pretty good. But if it smells like shit, like, it's probably shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, honest question, and this isn't to rub salt in the wounds because everybody makes mistakes, and it's how you bounce back from it, of course, afterwards. But have you ever been victim of a hack?
I've been very lucky now.
Yeah, I think I've minted the wrong contract, but it was a send function. It wasn't like it didn't pull anything from my wallet or anything. And I knew immediately, like, this. I Googled the website instead of went to, like, their Twitter. So, pro tip, don't Google the website, go straight to their Twitter.
Google,
yeah. And I have done that too. I have minted from a fake contract, but again, it was not something that was signing all transactions. I mean,
yeah,
the big thing,
like, I've had a lot. I've been in my first Bitcoin I bought in 2014. I was definitely part of, like, the 2016, 17, 18, like, craziness, the IPOs, all that. But, like, I've always operated. If it sounds too good to be true, it is, especially in crypto. Like double stamp that in crypto. If it sounds too good to be true, it is.
Can I play the contrarian to that though?
Absolutely, yeah.
When you hear something about a guy who put $8,000 into Shibcoin as a joke in 2020 or whatever, right? And then literally forgot about it, and then a year later, it was $1.6 billion.
Yeah, but that's
like
different.
That's a moonshot.
Approaching you, like,
yeah. You're right. And, like, what, I can't remember who said it, but, like, nothing no victory ever came from the DMs or something like that, right?
No,
Like it's
never.
just like
Yeah, like
that's
if
true.
someone's the
But I
classic.
think it's just like it just paints that picture of like sometimes things are that good, right? And I think that like people are very, very scared of missing out on that
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
opportunity.
I mean, I was just thinking, like, putting myself in that position. If I stumbled upon that tweet, like Zeneca tweeted out, I'd be like, oh, this looks good. But again, I am fortunate. I have, access to, Alpha Mint and other, alpha communities where I could check and see if everyone's chatting about it or not. But like, yeah, dude, that looks super juicy. If Zeneca's dropping something and you see that first, like, I can imagine people instantly jumping on that and not thinking twice. Like, absolutely. Yeah, I see where like that opportunity and missing out on that, not wanting to miss out on that.
I want to put an emphasis on the community aspect. Like it is, I just feel like that's such an important aspect to get a feel for something like that. Where you're like, if you go in and check in your alpha community, whatever community it may be, just to see if people are chatting about it, stuff like that. If it does sound too good to be true, because it's just
Yeah, I mean the value of having people you trust kind of take a second look at stuff, or putting out notice that like, hey, Zeneca was hacked. I mean that happens in Alpha Mint all the time, right? Like even our not a big project, but the AIC Discord was hacked, and of course we have some ties with them with Star Wolves, and immediately like people were in there relaying it to the Star Wolves community again because there's that crossover and there's lots of people in those two Discords mutually, just giving the heads up. And like, that's incredibly valuable as well. So, I mean, I think it's a great point of like, if you don't have a community or you're not talking to other people about this stuff, to go find one. There's tons of free ones too. Like it's not like you have to have 85 ETH to be in, the Proof Collective to make sure that your crypto is safe. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I want to read the latter part of this Twitter thread to you guys because it does start to go into compensation. And I've always thought that this is a fascinating topic simply because a lot of default for people is to say, I want compensation because you're used to that in real life, right? Your Visa card gets compromised. Somebody, buys a flight to Bali. You call them up and you get it reimbursed, right? And it's actually a very simple process. Like, most of the time you don't spend any more than 5 minutes on the phone before they're like, okay, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Click, boom, gone, and you're back to normal. They send you a new card, you move on with your life. It's very unintuitive for people in crypto and NFTs to not understand that once something is gone, I mean, it's gone. You ain't getting it back. You hear the long shots of some like detective tracking down something and, then they're arrested and somehow we get them to give up the keys and stuff like that. But I mean, we're literally talking 1 in a million here. It doesn't happen. Like your shit is gone. And that's why you have to. I mean, if I wanted to watch like a sports event, people are like, oh, you could stream it at like xxxsportsstreaming.ru/io. Like, I'm not clicking that link. Like, I don't even care if I don't have any crypto related shit on my device that's related to, if it's on the same network. I'm just not touching that stuff. It's just not worth it, right? Like, and maybe that's a level of paranoia that makes me sleep at night, but I'll take it, right? I've seen people go to much greater lengths, but I mean,
a little paranoia in this space is good though. It's healthy.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm not saying like write one word of each of your seed phrase down and bury it around spots in the world and stuff like that. Like if you're the what are the twins' names? I mean, they do that, but they're holding the Facebook twins.
Oh yeah. The Winklevi.
Yeah, the Winklevi, right? Like they have separate parts of their seed phrase and safety deposit boxes all over the States and whatnot. But I mean, they're holding billions of dollars in crypto.
Yeah,
so by all means.
Convenient. I mean,
What's
it's billions. That seems very.
Don't worry, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
But let's get into the last part of this Twitter thread. Somewhere along the way, projects, and this is in reference to projects being hacked. Somewhere along the way, projects decided that the response would be to take full responsibility and fully reimburse victims for their losses. I understand and empathize with this response. There are many reasons for wanting to do this: because you feel bad for the victims, because you feel guilty, because you want to help. On a more transactional and practical level, perhaps you want to mollify an unhappy crowd and feel that it will assist the reputation of your project and brand. Perhaps you're doing it because you saw another project do it and or because the crowd is expecting it. I'm not sure that this is the best path forward. It's largely unsustainable for projects to continue to reimburse losses that were ultimately the fault of the individuals that lost the assets. It's also largely impractical to ensure that all victims are genuine. It opens up an additional and hard to identify attack vector where the attackers will also masquerade as victims and effectively double dip on the damages. Punk 4156 made a good thread on this the other day. The sad reality also is that if people get used to and expect compensation, it makes it less likely that people will truly learn the importance of personal security and wallet safety. I thought this was an incredible statement by Zeneca because it it echoes a sentiment that I have thought all the way back to the BearX Discord hack back in the day, an incredibly hyped NFT project that was the result of I think maybe thousands of ETH lost at the time. They went as far as increasing their mint price to make sure that they could properly compensate victims of the hack. But I also knew degens that were minting the fake one, knowing it was a scam, knowing that they were going to get reimbursed by the team or assuming that they were, and hoping to get whitelisted for that project.
Oh, I remember that.
Because of the inconvenience to them. Now, this to me is upside with no downside, and that just doesn't exist, right? I really liked this stance of the personal security and accountability. I think it's something that needs to happen in this space. And I don't think in any way, shape, or form Zeneca is saying like, it's your guys' fault, you idiots. Like, I'm sure he feels bad that this happened, but at the same time, the idea that people are double dipping 100% happens, right? Like, why wouldn't they? And then on the other hand of it, there has to be risk associated with it. Like, you just get this free, Zeneca just posted this free stealth mint. Like, I'm going to go do it. And if I get hacked, well, at least I know he'll reimburse me. I just don't think it needs to, I don't think it should work that way. Like, I don't know. Dirty, what are you thinking? Like, put yourself in the shoes of somebody that just got hacked. Like, let's say you lost 10 ETH in this, which would suck, right? Like, that's a lot of money. Are you banging on Zeneca's door and saying like, look, bro, and answer that honestly? Like, it doesn't matter honestly, to me. Like, if you want your money.
I think the issue here, if anybody has an issue with this response, is he's saying the quiet part out loud. Is everything he's saying is truthful. Just people are kind of like, oh shit, I didn't expect him to say that and like be that upfront about it. But I completely agree. I think there needs to be more of an emphasis on security in the space. There needs to be like on personal security. It sucks. And I mean, like, is Zeneca a little bit to blame in some capacity? Like, yeah, his Twitter got hacked. But like, at the end of the day, like, it's if you're unsure about something, I wouldn't be knocking on his door to get it back. I just think the only alarming part is that he said something. Is like that he is the only alarming part to the people that might have gotten the bottom end of this deal is just hearing him say like, sorry, but this is like, I'm not, like, he's basically saying, sorry, I'm not going to refund you because this is your fault. And with a little bit of sugar on top is what he's saying. And I have to agree with him. It sucks, but it's not like you don't solve anything by just refunding people every single time this happens. Like, nothing, you don't fix anything.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I ditto to everything you just said. I think Dirty wrapped that up perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the long and short of that is that Zeneca goes on to say that he will not be compensating people for what they lost, and you know what? I mean, that probably really sucks to hear if you were on the losing end of this transaction. But he makes the point that he said basically there's no guarantee that if I don't give this money back that they're not just going to turn around and do it again, and then I'm the one that's out of pocket for it, and two scammers have won, right?
Yeah. Also, I didn't see the numbers, so I don't know how much people actually threw at this, but I can't imagine it wasn't a solid chunk that would. I mean, got to think about Zeneca too. I mean, dude's not, I mean, he's done well. He's probably not hurting, but at the same time, if he was refunding everybody, like,
yeah.
I mean, I've got way more issues with like other side burning 150 mil in ETH on their contract that I do somebody getting hacked for 10. Not to go off topic, but I just think that's a way bigger issue.
No, actually, I mean, that's pretty much on topic, right? Because, the other side was, Yuga was responsible for a pretty shitty contract and a very bad format in the other side drop, which resulted in a lot of money exiting the ecosystem just in pure burn. Right, like that's a lot of value destroyed out of the NFT space, and I'm sure when we're as small and as tight knit as we are currently, like that money floating around NFTs, it ripples and it translates into a lot of volume. And hindsight looking back, the other side was kind of the top when it comes down to it, right? And 100%. I'm not saying that it was exactly because of all of that ETH being burnt, but I'm sure it didn't fucking help.
No, I mean that was absurd.
Yeah. So on that note, I mean, I think that he's setting a good standard here. I do think that there's going to be some lines that have to be drawn between personal responsibility. What was the other one? Remember that Hunger Brains, the P2E game that was done by was it the Pixel Vault guys?
I think it was some MVHQ guys.
The MVHQ guys, yes, right.
Yeah.
Sorry. They kind of got rugged by their developers who just copied a contract, didn't even link it to the back end. Some people found out that it was basically just from another game. Even though
they didn't change the domain name.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Now they went and at great personal loss to themselves when you include gas fees, refunded everybody there. That I think is a line of like, okay, we fucked up. Like we have to make this right, because on the other side of it was people who were expecting a delivery, a value proposition on something that we were delivering, and we completely dropped the ball on it. Right? It would be like
I mean that would just be
and then finding out it's a bicycle, right? Like
and
that's the point. So, but I think what it comes down to is like it's going to be a hard process to find where that line is, because as Dirty Milk said, Zeneca was the victim of a hack. I don't want to say allowed his Twitter account to be compromised, but at the end of the day, his security was not on point enough to prevent that. So like it'll be interesting to see where we try and draw that line. Do you guys have any thoughts about that?
I think it'll be interesting once more corporations get involved into NFTs, because there's no way they're not gonna find themselves in a similar situation where they push out something or get hacked or whatever. Like I'm very curious as to what that ecosystem looks like.
I don't think he's gonna make any friends, but it needs to happen.
I think that this is I think it's a good move by Zeneca. Again, if you're listening to this and you were a victim of that, I'm not trying to rub salt in the wounds. It does suck. But we got it. We have to get to that point. And like this is the sad, harsh reality of crypto in NFTs is like, this is true accountability and it's true ownership. Right. And it's one of the big things that's going to hold back mainstream adoption for a long time too. Right. Because people just don't get that. Right. Somebody can't just walk into your house and be like, mine, like I got the deed, like,
and that's like the main thing with crypto in general. It's going to hold us back, because there's not going to be some company there to be like, oh, sucks, here's your money back.
All right. I think on that note, we had the final one was the OpenSea mint. But I think we can save that for another time. Look at that. Who's that little guy?
This is Reagan. She wanted to come out and see what was going on. She just got a haircut, so she's nice and shaved for summer.
Looking fresh.
Like 100+ here every day, so she needs it.
It is a proven fact that dogs play well on the YouTube algorithm. So
there you go.
Hey, Sosa, come here.
Yeah, get the dogs on.
Mine is not here right now, so I can't help with that. But yeah, I think we'll leave the OpenSea mint thing, the Solana launchpad, for another time if that holds up an interesting conversation. I don't know. It's Solana. It's an OpenSea launchpad. Good for them. But yeah,
I mean, to play onto the security thing, it's cool to see OpenSea doing mints. However, spent any amount of time on OpenSea during an actual popular or like heavy mint, like, gosh,
Well,
website crashes.
That's a great point too. So I mean, to like shut it down, like what has more downtime, OpenSea or Solana? Like this is a match made in heaven. So right,
we'll find out.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Pointing fingers at each other. It's gonna be great.
Like the Office gif where they're like in the standoff. Just like
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean to bring it back to the security thing. A week ago, I would have said that's the amazing thing about Premint too, and look where that got me. So,
that's a good point. Oh, okay. Jealousy is real with these stocks.
All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts about episode 0.5 of Exit Liquidity?
Excited for episode 1.
Yeah, excited for episode 1. I think this is a great shakedown. Definitely ran a little longer than we expected, but hey, I think we did great.
Yeah, and I mean that's what this is about, right? Like we're
Absolutely.
just trying to play it out, feel out. You know, for anybody that listens to this and you want to drop something in the comments, we're going to be breaking these down into smaller segments too. If there's segments you'd like to see, if there's things that you'd like for us to touch on a regular basis or a semi-regular basis, I mean, we're all ears, right? And this show will obviously evolve as time goes on, and I'm sure episode 10 won't look anything like episode 0.5. But on that note, Drip Cult, Dirty Milk, always a pleasure. Just sitting down, talking crypto, talking NFTs with you guys. It's a lot of fun, and especially in this kind of market, there's still tons of stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty much what we got to do.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Love to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. I'm excited to do more of these. I'm excited to be creating with you guys again.
Oh, you know what? I actually didn't even do the intro video clip. How did I forget to do that? We'll just do it right at the end there. Let's press that right now. No, God! Perfect.
Easy.
And on that note, I can always edit it in.
You got it. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time, and we will do this again next week.
Awesome. See you guys.
Fam.
Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.